What's up, BookTube? My name is Leah Cooper, and today I am bringing you, hopefully, what will be a quick review of Infinity's End, edited by Jonathan Strahan. This is a multi-author anthology put out by Solaris Books, which is a division of Rebellion Publishing. It is the final installment in a kind of series of multi-author anthologies that Jonathan Strahan has edited. I have a review for the one that came before this one. It was Infinity Wars. I will leave a link to it up above. I really enjoyed that collection. I read it as an ARC 2 years ago, I think. This one came out during my reading slump last year, so I did not request it for an ARC. But when I saw it on the Available Now kind of semi-new releases shelf at my library, I snapped it up because I did really love Infinity Wars. And oh my gosh, you guys, I am so glad I picked this up. So this review is not going to be like super structured because it's not for an ARC. It's just like, I read this, I enjoyed it so much, I wanted to talk about it. So it's going to be a little rambly and disjointed, but hopefully you'll get some good information. So these anthologies, they all have infinity in the title. Previous ones include Infinity Wars, Engineering Infinity, Edge of Infinity, Reach for Infinity, that kind of thing. They're all science fiction, and they all have different theme. So the theme for this one is difficult to put into like words. Like obviously Infinity Wars is about wars and what war will look like in the future for humans. This is more about what happens when we've colonized the solar system and we're just like settled kind of at the end of things. But that's not even a very good description of it. Once you start reading these stories, I think the theme gels as a sense in your chest without necessarily being something that's easily defined by words. The stories in this collection are so good. Like, one of the things about multi-author anthologies is a lot of times they can be really hit and miss. Like, currently I am reading another multi-author anthology edited by a very famous author. I can't even imagine that the person who edited this anthology actually picked the stories that went into it. I struggle to believe that. But that's not the case with the Infinity books. The care that Jonathan Strahan has gone to pick out the voices to include in each of these is amazing. They're complementary without ever feeling samey, so that the theme of each book evolves and moves along through the book without the stories running together, which is another thing that can occur in short story collections. Maybe it's just that me and Jonathan Strahan have similar tastes in science fiction, but like none of these stories was a hard miss for me. Like none of the author voices was a hard miss. A few of them I didn't think were quite as good as the others, but overall, like, I think if I rated each story individually, which I do for ARCs, but you know, not when I'm just pleasure reading, probably this would have like a 4.5 rating, because there's definitely some like 3.5 star stories in here, but like for the most part, strong 4 and 5 star short stories in this. And on Goodreads, I gave it a 5 because this was just fun to read. And I think having an enjoyable reading experience is worth something. And this was enjoyable. We've got names in here like Alistair Reynolds, Stephen Baxter, Christine Catherine Rush, Fran Wilde, and Paul Macaulay. Like some like solid names in the genre. Ironically, I think the Stephen Baxter short was like one of my least favorite. We have stories in here that take place on planets all over our solar system, from Earth to Mars to Venus to Uranus, and even just on the edge of our solar system. We've got stories about planets that are turned into one big amusement park. We've got stories about humans who have transcended normal form, who make and remake their bodies over hundreds of times to live for hundreds of years until they start losing parts of themselves. We've got stories about what happens when Earth has given up its drive towards manifest destiny, and you have one nut job stealing a ship to fly to the last undiscovered orbiting body in the sky. and the people who pursue him to stop him from wrecking an ecosystem. We've got stories about all sorts of things. And they're not necessarily big stories. They're stories about people. They're stories about different shapes of humanity and what humanity could look like in the future. A humanity that is past the ravages of the next great war, apocalypse, or whatever. Humanity that has evolved past that. Humanity that's been broken by that. There's one story in here where we've completely divorced ourselves from the process of reproduction. It's done with machines and like you've got these classrooms of students who are all kind of like birthed together in these like micro ecosystems and taken care of by caregivers, and it's actually like extremely unpopular to be a caregiver, and the protagonist is socially shunned for it. And I don't want to have children. I have no interest in that. And I found that story so interesting. By far, my favorite story in this was The Synchronist by Fran Wilde. And it's difficult to explain, but it's about a girl whose father is a cargo runner who's trying to cheat time and save himself seconds on every trip. And in the process of doing that, disappears from between one hyper jump and the next. And she spends the rest of her life trying to create a better watch, essentially, to make time jump or to make space jumps, warp jumps, whatever they're called. I can't remember what they call them in this book. Safer, more accurate, and living in the spaces between moments. It's such a good collection, you guys. If you like science fiction, if you want to read more short fiction, or you're just looking for a science fiction anthology, pick this one up. You don't have to read any of the collections in the series in order. They're completely standalone. Like I said, I've read 2. I loved both. I will definitely be on the lookout for other books in the Infinity series, just to kind of go back and read some of the past editions. I will definitely keep my eye out for anything Jonathan Strahan does in the future. Like if he ever puts together another anthology, I will definitely check it out because I think these are so good. I'm going to wrap that up here because I wanted to keep this a quick review. Hopefully I've inspired you to check out this book, read more short fiction, because, life can be really, really busy, and sometimes it's really nice to just be able to start and finish something in one sitting. Like, I find that like such an accomplishment, even when I'm at my busiest or most stressed out or least interested in diving into a long, tough book. It's so satisfying. And this is a great collection. 4.5 to 5 stars from me. Check it out. Thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoy any of my content, like hearing my rants and reviews, be sure and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.